Have you ever noticed how small things can affect our mood disproportionately? A malicious comment, a sideways glance, or even an insignificant unforeseen event. Suddenly, something small turns into a weight we carry for the rest of the day. But what if you could act as if nothing bothered you? Not as someone who ignores problems, but as someone who knows how to choose their battles and protect their inner peace. In Stoic philosophy, there is a powerful idea. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to what happens that truly matters. Being unshakable is a daily training, a skill we can cultivate. It's not about not feeling, but about not allowing what is outside your control to steal your energy and mental clarity. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a practice of inner strength, an art that differentiates the strong from the weak. Imagine what your life would be like if you could face any situation with calm and wisdom. Criticisms would become a whisper, setbacks just light winds. It is a change of mindset, a conscious choice not to allow the external to affect your serenity. It's not easy, but it's also not impossible. It is a path that begins with small steps and small decisions. In this video, I will share with you 9 practical ways to act as if nothing bothers you. Each of them is based on Stoic wisdom and can transform the way you live. Before we begin, leave a comment with the phrase of the day and affirmation, "Nothing will bother me." This strengthens your intention. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications so you don't miss content that really makes a difference. Now let's get to the video. 1. Create the shield of serenity. Serenity is not something we find by chance. It is something we build, brick by brick, like an invisible shield that protects us against the onslaughts of the external world. The first step to creating this shield is to recognize that you have the power to decide what enters your mind and your heart. External words, attitudes, and situations only have the impact you allow them to have. Think about it. What would your life be like if nothing could penetrate this shield? If verbal attacks and provocations slid off you like rain on a waterproof roof? This shield begins with self-awareness. Imagine a moment when someone tried to provoke you or hurt you emotionally. How did you react? Did you feel anger, defend yourself, or hold on to it for hours, maybe even days? These reactions are normal, but they also show how much we allow others to have power over us. Creating the shield of serenity means not giving that power to anyone. It means deliberately choosing that nothing that comes from the outside can penetrate your inner peace. One of the fundamental practices to strengthen this shield is conscious silence. When someone tries to irritate you, the impulsive reaction is to respond in the same tone. But silence can be your best response, not because you are surrendering, but because you are exercising self-control. Silence is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you are the master of your emotions, not their slave. Another way to reinforce this shield is through the re-evaluation of events. Ask yourself, does this really matter? We often get stuck on problems that, in the grand scheme of life, are insignificant. A traffic delay, a criticism from someone who barely knows us, or even a small mistake we made. Is it worth letting this corrode our peace? When you ask yourself if something really matters, you realize that most of the daily annoyances do not deserve your attention. Visualizing the shield is also a powerful tool. Close your eyes and imagine a barrier around you, made of something strong and unbreakable, like steel or diamond. Whenever someone tries to hit you with negative words or attitudes, these energies simply hit the shield and dissipate. This mental exercise may seem simple, but over time, it conditions your mind to respond more calmly to adversities. Remember that creating the shield of serenity does not mean becoming insensitive. You will still have emotions and feel the difficulties of life, but what changes is the impact these events have on you. When your shield is strong, you realize that you don't need to react to everything. Not every battle needs to be fought, and not every provocation deserves a response. Another important practice is to carefully choose where you place your attention. Our mind has a limited capacity to focus, and if you spend your energy on negative things, there is less left for what really matters. Focus on constructive thoughts, on people who lift you up, and on actions that bring you closer to your goals. This positive focus further strengthens your shield because it helps you ignore what does not deserve space in your life. Remember that creating the shield of serenity is an ongoing process. It's like tending a garden. You need to water it, remove the weeds, and protect it against pests. Sometimes you will fail, you will react impulsively, or you will allow something to affect you more than it should. This is normal. The important thing is to notice these failures and get back on track, strengthening the shield a little more each day. By practicing this, you will notice a significant change in your life. The situations that used to drive you crazy will become insignificant. You will start to live with more calm, focus, and clarity. The shield of serenity is not just a tool for dealing with the external world. It is a constant reminder that strength comes from within. And when you master this, you become truly unshakable. 2. Become imperturbable. Imagine a firm rock in the middle of a storm. The wind blows, the rain beats down hard, but it remains motionless. This is how imperturbability works, being firm and resistant in the face of chaos, without being shaken by the waves of emotions and external events. It does not mean you don't feel, but that you learn not to get lost in the turmoil. Now the question that arises is how to develop this quality. We are often like leaves in the wind, reacting automatically to every harsh word, criticism, or setback. This vulnerability is the result of a mind that clings to the external, waiting for validation or avoiding any discomfort. However, true strength lies in becoming unshakable by what is beyond your control. For this, a deep internal work is necessary, a redirection of attention to what really matters, your own perception and your choices. Nothing is more liberating than realizing that no one can touch you without your permission. When you understand that what they say or do does not define who you are, the power returns to your hands. Why give so much weight to a passing opinion or a moment of frustration? Cultivating imperturbability is remembering that your inner peace does not depend on the world out there, but on how you choose to react to it. An essential practice for this is the separation between what is internal and what is external. The external are the things that happen around you, the traffic, the attitude of others, the bad weather. The internal is how you respond to all of this. Whenever something tries to take away your tranquility, ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, let it go. Do not waste energy on battles that cannot be won. Another way to strengthen this quality is to become an observer of your own thoughts. When something bothers you, do not get involved immediately. Stop and observe. Your mind is quick to react, but often this reaction is exaggerated or unnecessary. By observing your thoughts as a spectator, you gain clarity and reduce the intensity of the negative emotion. Furthermore, practice active acceptance. Life is unpredictable, full of ups and downs, and resisting this only increases suffering. Accepting is not the same as agreeing or resigning. It is recognizing that some things are as they are, and that fighting against them is wasting your energy. By accepting, you free yourself. Sometimes, the key to imperturbability lies in simplicity. Reduce the noise in your life. Many of the things that bother us come from unrealistic expectations, excess information, and unnecessary worries. By simplifying, you eliminate what is not essential and create space for calm. Being imperturbable also means establishing clear boundaries. Not everything deserves your attention, and not everyone deserves a response. It is an act of courage to say no to what threatens your peace. This is one of the deepest forms of self-care, protecting your energy and choosing wisely where to place it. To become truly imperturbable, you need to remember that life is not about controlling what happens, but about controlling who you are in the face of what happens. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice this inner strength. Do not see difficulties as enemies, but as allies that help you grow and become stronger. Throughout this process, remember, imperturbability is a training, not a permanent state. Having difficult days does not mean you have failed, but that you are learning. Over time, your natural reaction to adversities will be calmer, and you will feel the weight of the world dissipate. In the end, being imperturbable is not just about dealing with external challenges, but about creating an internal world so stable that no storm can shake you. And this strength, this peace, is available to you at any moment. Choose to embrace it, and you will discover that living with tranquility is more than an ideal. It's a habit that transforms. Convert obstacles into stepping stones. The challenges we face in life can seem like insurmountable walls, but in reality, they are disguised stepping stones. The big question is not what you face, but how you choose to face these difficulties. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This phrase captures the essence of Stoicism. Obstacles do not exist to block your progress, but to reveal it. We often let ourselves be dominated by frustrations when something goes wrong. Rejection, failure, or criticism seem too big to overcome. However, if you change your perspective, you will see that these experiences are valuable tools for your growth. They teach resilience, humility, and strength. Every difficulty brings with it the seed of a lesson that, if cultivated, can completely transform the way you see life. Instead of resisting adversities, try to understand them. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to become a better version of myself? This learning mindset transforms what seemed to be a weight into a springboard for something greater. It is not about ignoring the pain or pretending that everything is fine, but about accepting what happened and using it as an opportunity for advancement. The biggest obstacles are usually those that force us out of our comfort zone. When you face the unknown, or what seems impossible, you are challenging yourself to grow. Imagine a steep staircase. Each step presents a difficulty, but the higher you climb, the more you broaden your view. Difficulties do not bring you down. They invite you to reach something higher. To convert obstacles into stepping stones, practice the art of reinterpreting situations. Do not see problems as punishments or bad luck. Instead, face them as a test. Every challenge is a chance to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. It's like shaping a sword in the fire. The heat and the impact strengthen it. So too does your soul when faced with difficulties. It is also important to remember that adversities can reveal skills and strengths you didn't even know you had. How many times have you been forced to find a creative solution or to surpass yourself in moments of crisis? These moments show what you are really capable of. What seems impossible today will be just another story of overcoming tomorrow. The Stoics teach us to look at adversities with gratitude. It seems contradictory, but when you thank for the challenges, you completely change your relationship with them. Instead of feeling like a victim, you become the protagonist of your journey. After all, how could you become wiser, stronger, or more resilient if you were never challenged? Furthermore, the way you react to obstacles is observed by those around you. Your attitude can inspire others to also see difficulties differently. When you act with calm and determination in the face of chaos, you serve as a living example of inner strength. You become someone who not only overcomes challenges, but transforms them into something significant. Convert every stumble into a learning experience. Reflect on the difficult situations you have already faced and ask yourself, what did this teach me? How did this make me better? This practice of constant self-reflection is essential for anyone who wants to grow. The obstacles you overcome today are the stepping stones that elevate you tomorrow. Life will never stop presenting challenges, but you can choose how you will face them. Transforming obstacles into stepping stones is not just a philosophy. It is a daily practice that strengthens the mind, the heart, and the soul. And when you adopt this mindset, you discover that nothing can really stop you. You not only advance, you rise. 4. Learn to pause. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, many of us live as if we were constantly in a race, reacting to everything automatically, without even reflecting. This lack of pause leads us to impulsive decisions, ill-considered words, and actions we often regret. But the secret to a more serene and balanced life lies in something simple and powerful: knowing how to stop. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Be master of your mind. Stop and think before you act." It is this conscious pause that allows us to regain control and act with wisdom, instead of being carried away by emotions. How many times have you regretted something you did or said in the heat of the moment? Maybe you reacted to a provocation, made a hasty decision, or responded defensively. These actions happen because instead of breathing and reflecting, we let ourselves be carried away by the intensity of the moment. Learning to pause is not just about avoiding mistakes, but about creating space for awareness and clarity. It is in this interval that the true power to choose the best response lies. The pause does not need to be long. It can be as brief as a few seconds, but these seconds make all the difference. When you feel anger rising, interrupt the flow. Inhale deeply and count to 5. This simple act slows down the mind and gives you time to evaluate the situation calmly. What seemed urgent or irritating loses its power when you give yourself space to reflect before acting. There is also great value in applying this pause in moments of indecision. We are often pressured to respond quickly, whether at work, in relationships, or in daily situations. However, important decisions rarely need to be made instantly. Adopt the practice of saying, "I need some time to think." This habit is not a sign of weakness, but of self-awareness. It shows that you value your choices and do not act on impulse. The pause is an opportunity to observe your thoughts and emotions. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is the real cause of this reaction? Often, what bothers us externally is a reflection of something internal. This moment of introspection can reveal insecurities, fears, or limiting beliefs that need to be worked on. Without this pause, we lose the chance to know ourselves better. A practical example of how the pause can transform your life is the moment you face criticism or provocations. Instead of reacting immediately, stop, breathe, and ask yourself, does this really matter? How do I want to remember this moment a year from now? This reflection can completely change your perspective, transforming an impulsive reaction into a balanced and wise response. The pause is also essential for preserving your energy. When you run from one task to another without stopping, you end up physically and mentally exhausted. Take small breaks throughout the day, even if they are just for a few minutes. Get up, stretch, breathe deeply. These moments of rest renew your mind and help you face the rest of the day with more focus and disposition. In Stoic philosophy, the pause is seen as a moment of alignment with reason. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This advice reflects the importance of stopping to evaluate your actions before executing them. When you adopt this practice, your choices become more intentional and aligned with your values. Learning to pause is, in fact, an act of courage. It is resisting the pressure to act quickly, the fear of seeming weak or indecisive. It is a reminder that you are the only one responsible for your actions, and that each pause is an opportunity to exercise that power. Life is not a constant race. It is a path that should be walked with awareness. Each pause you take is a chance to adjust your direction, to reaffirm your serenity, and to act with wisdom. By incorporating this practice into your routine, you will realize that calm and balance become constant allies, even in the most challenging moments. After all, whoever learns to pause, learns to live. Focus on internal control. Have you ever felt the frustration of trying to change something that is completely out of your reach? It's like trying to hold fine sand in your fingers. The more you try to control it, the more it escapes. The great truth is that many of the things that bother us cannot be controlled. But there is something that is always within our reach, our choices and reactions. Epictetus reminds us, it is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. And it is on this interpretation that we need to focus. Our desire to control the world around us is natural. We want people to act according to our expectations, situations to flow as planned, and the weather to cooperate with our plans. When this doesn't happen, the annoyance arises, transforming small setbacks into great internal torments. The problem is not the world, but our insistence on wanting to dominate it. When you redirect this focus to what is within you, you find true power. Internal control is an exercise of attention. Ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is yes, act with wisdom. If it is no, practice the art of letting go. Most of the things that bother us, slow traffic, a malicious comment, or an unexpected change, are external. You cannot avoid them, but you can decide how to respond. This choice is yours, and only yours. Developing internal control is not something that happens overnight. It requires constant practice. A good start is to observe how you react to daily situations. Notice your emotions when something doesn't go as expected. Instead of being carried away by irritation or frustration, stop, breathe, take a step back and ask yourself, will my reaction here improve or worsen the situation? This pause is the first sign that you are taking command of your internal world. The strength of internal control also lies in understanding that you don't need to be at war with what happens around you. Often, resisting what we cannot change only increases our suffering. Accepting is not conforming. It is recognizing reality and making the best of what you have. Marcus Aurelius teaches us this with wisdom when he says, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Many people confuse internal control with apathy, but it is not about ceasing to care. It is about not allowing the external to control your emotions and your peace. When you focus on internal control, you become more present, more balanced, and stronger. The irritation that used to consume your energy begins to lose its power. Those small things that used to bother you become insignificant in the face of your inner clarity. Cultivate constructive thoughts. What you feed in your mind shapes your emotions. When you choose to focus on the positive, even in difficult situations, you are reinforcing your ability to deal with whatever comes. Try replacing negative thoughts with questions like, what can I learn from this? Or how can this make me more resilient? These reflections put you in command instead of being a hostage to circumstances. And don't forget that internal control also depends on well-defined boundaries. Knowing when to say no to people, situations, or even thoughts that threaten your peace is an act of courage and self-care. Not everything deserves your energy, and recognizing this is one of the biggest steps to maintaining balance. Throughout life, many events will try to test your ability to maintain control. Some will be small annoyances, others true emotional earthquakes. Stoicism does not promise that these challenges will disappear, but it teaches that you can face them with dignity and serenity. Focus on what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, your choices. And now, imagine what your life would be like if you started applying this principle today. What would it be like to wake up tomorrow with the awareness that you do not need to be dominated by the chaos around you? Internal control is more than a practice. It is an invitation to freedom. When you accept that you cannot control the world but can master yourself, you discover that nothing, absolutely nothing, can steal your peace. 6. Adopt the observer's view. Have you ever stopped to observe your own life from the outside, as if you were watching a movie in which you are the protagonist? This is the essence of adopting the observer's view. When you emotionally distance yourself from what is happening, you gain clarity, control, and the ability to act as if nothing really bothers you. Imagine a common situation. Someone at work makes a disagreeable comment. The natural instinct might be to react in the same coin, to get irritated, or to hold a grudge for later. But what happens when, instead of reacting, you decide to become an observer of this scene? You see the comment for what it really is, a combination of words formed by someone who may not even be thinking about the impact it would cause. By adopting the observer's view, you cease to be the puppet of circumstances and become the master of your own peace. Adopting this perspective is like being in a watchtower. From up there, you can see what is coming, where it is going, and how everything connects. You are no longer a blind participant in the situation, but someone who understands that not everything deserves an immediate reaction or any reaction at all. When you observe instead of reacting, you transform the power the world has over you. This does not mean you become apathetic or indifferent to life. On the contrary, the observer's view allows you to be more present, but in a balanced way. You recognize your emotions, anger, fear, anxiety, but you do not let them control you. You understand that these emotions are transient, like clouds in the sky. No matter how dense they are, they never change the vastness of the blue sky behind them. The Stoics spoke a lot about the importance of not being carried away by uncontrolled passions. Marcus Aurelius, for example, taught us to see things as they are, without the adornments of emotion. When you practice the observer's view, you are applying this teaching exactly. It's as if you were saying to yourself, "This is happening, but it doesn't have to dominate me. I choose how I will react, or if I will react." And you know what's magical about this? Often, the simple decision not to react completely takes away the power of that situation. The rude comment, the sideways glance, the chaotic day in traffic, none of this can truly touch you when you adopt the observer's view. Because deep down, you know that these events are just small waves on the surface of the ocean that is your life. Practicing the observer's view requires some mental training, but it is totally possible. Start small. When something irritates you or causes you discomfort, breathe deeply and ask yourself, if I was seeing this happen to someone else, how would I interpret it? Often, when we emotionally distance ourselves, we realize how insignificant the things we let consume us are. It is at this moment that you begin to perceive the strength of Stoicism in action. Furthermore, the observer's view reminds us of something essential. The world does not revolve around us. People often do not do what they do because of us, but because of themselves. When someone treats you badly or ignores you, most of the time, it has much more to do with that person's internal battles than with anything you have done. Seeing this completely changes the way you feel. Adopting this view also improves your communication and your relationships. By distancing yourself from emotions in the heat of the moment, you respond more consciously, without letting pride or anger take over. This not only strengthens your presence, but also makes the people around you begin to respect your calm and clarity. Remember, you are not obliged to participate in every conflict that life invites you to. The observer's view is your tool to live with tranquility, without allowing external storms to reach your internal world. It is a constant reminder that you have a choice. You can react as everyone expects, or you can act as if nothing bothers you, because deep down, nothing really affects you unless you allow it. So the next time chaos knocks on your door, climb up to the watchtower. Observe, understand, and only then decide what deserves your energy. This is how you act with wisdom. This is how you find true peace. Be the master of silence. Silence, one of the most underestimated and transformative powers you can master. In a world that screams for attention and quick responses, being the master of silence is not just a skill, it is a true demonstration of strength. When you learn to silence the impulsive reaction, the unnecessary words, and the internal noise, you begin to act as if nothing can really bother you. Think about it. How many times have you regretted something you said in the heat of the moment? Maybe an argument, an impulsive comment, or even an attempt to justify yourself when it wasn't necessary. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine the power of staying silent, of observing, of absorbing what is happening, and only then acting with wisdom. When you choose silence, you are doing something deeper than simply not speaking. You are creating space to reflect, to understand, to react in a way that benefits you and not others. Silence, in its essence, is a strategic pause. It is the interval between stimulus and response, and it is exactly there that the power lies. The Stoics deeply valued control over the word. Epictetus said, "Be not hasty in your words, but be a good listener." By choosing to listen more and speak less, you become someone more difficult to be shaken. Because while others waste energy reacting, you are accumulating strength, clarity, and focus. Being the master of silence does not mean you should never speak or express yourself. It means you choose your words with wisdom. It means you understand that not everything needs a response, and that often silence is the most powerful response you can give. When someone tries to provoke you or involve you in an unnecessary conflict, silence can be what completely dismantles the situation. You don't feed the fire, you extinguish it. But silence is not just external. There is an internal silence that is even more important. It is the silence of the mind. How many times do our thoughts sabotage us? We ruminate on past conversations, create future scenarios that may never happen, or feed insecurities that only exist in our heads. Being the master of silence also means learning to quiet these internal voices. The Stoics teach us that we can train the mind to focus on what really matters. Marcus Aurelius, for example, said that we should ask ourselves, is this really something so big? Does it deserve so much of my attention? By questioning your own thoughts, you begin to create internal silence, and in this space of silence, you find clarity and peace. To practice silence, start with small steps in daily situations, like a difficult conversation, a criticism, or a provocation. Breathe deeply before responding. Ask yourself, do I really need to say something now? Will this improve the situation or just satisfy my ego? Often the best response is none. A calm look or a slight smile can communicate more than any word. And when the noise is inside you, try simple practices like deep breathing or meditation. Set aside a few minutes to be in complete silence, without social media, without notifications, without distractions. Just you with your thoughts and the effort to let them pass like clouds in the sky. Being the master of silence is also a way to protect your energy. Because in the end, what really matters, if you live reacting to every word said against you, to every negative comment or irritating situation, you are surrendering your power to these things. But when you choose silence, it's as if you were saying to the world, I am bigger than this. Nothing can shake me. Over time, you will realize that silence is a force that transforms not only the way you react to situations, but also how the people around you perceive you. A master of silence is someone who exudes confidence, does not need to justify themselves, does not need to prove anything to anyone. This type of presence is magnetic, powerful. So practice silence in your words, in your thoughts, in your way of reacting to the world. Remember, you do not need to participate in every conflict that crosses your path. True strength lies in knowing when to speak and especially when not to speak. Be the master of silence. Let the world realize that no matter how much it tries, nothing can bother you. And above all, use this silence to build your inner peace, a space where no one can enter without your permission. 8. Reduce the value of offenses. What is the real weight of an offense? This question may seem simple, but it carries a powerful teaching. Often, it is not the offense itself that hurts us, but the value we attribute to it. When you choose to diminish this weight, something magical happens. The words, actions, or gestures of others lose their power to affect you. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins here, in your ability to redefine the importance of things. Words can seem big at the moment they are spoken, but when analyzed coldly, they are nothing more than organized sounds. A criticism, a malicious comment, or even a provocation only have the effect you allow them to have. If you attribute little or no value to these situations, they simply cannot penetrate your state of balance. It's not about ignoring what happens around you, but about understanding that the emotional impact of anything is under your control. The truth is that everyone sees the world through their own lenses. What someone says about you reflects much more about who that person is than about who you really are. When you accept this, it becomes easier to leave behind any offense. You stop carrying the weight of words that do not belong to you. This is a conscious decision, an act of strength, not weakness. Perhaps the most liberating aspect of reducing the value of offenses is realizing how ephemeral they are. Something that seems gigantic today will be insignificant tomorrow. Remember the times you worried about something that in the end didn't even matter. When you reduce the importance of something at the moment it happens, you are already acting with wisdom. You're already demonstrating that nothing can shake you. Seeing the intention behind the words can be revealing. Often, an offense is the result of frustration, insecurity, or even pain. When you understand this, you may even feel compassion instead of anger. This does not mean accepting or validating offensive behaviors, but choosing not to let them affect you. The practice of reducing the value of offenses is a constant exercise. It does not happen automatically, but it improves with time. Start by asking yourself, why am I giving so much importance to this? Often the answer will show that the problem is not as big as it seems. The repetition of this questioning creates a powerful mental habit, that of not absorbing what does not belong to you. It is important to remember that your value does not depend on the opinion of others. You are much bigger than any criticism, judgment, or provocation. Your inner peace is your most precious asset, and it can only be compromised if you allow it. Reducing the value of offenses is not ignoring or fleeing, but consciously choosing what deserves your energy. Therefore, the next time an offense crosses your path, remember that its impact depends on the value you decide to give it. By diminishing this weight, you free yourself, act with serenity, and prove that nothing, absolutely nothing, can truly bother you. This is the power of one who masters their emotions and lives with tranquility. Practice the art of letting go. True strength is not in resisting, but in letting go. We live clinging to thoughts, situations, and people that are no longer part of who we are. For everything you hold on to, you carry an unnecessary weight that affects not only your mind, but also your ability to act as if nothing could bother you. Think of everything you insist on holding on to. Old resentments, unmet expectations, past failures. Holding on to them is like trying to swim with stones in your pockets. Every effort becomes more tiring, and what should be light and fluid turns into a constant struggle against the current. Letting go is not giving up. It is understanding that certain things no longer have a place in your life. The practice of letting go is an exercise in courage. It is difficult to abandon something that once had meaning, but what you gain is freedom. By letting go of what you cannot control, you create space for what really matters. Life becomes simpler, lighter, and with this lightness comes the ability to act more wisely, without being tied to the emotional bonds that used to paralyze you. It all starts with a conscious choice. When something bothers you, ask yourself, does this really deserve my attention? This simple but powerful question is the starting point for learning to let go. Often, the answer will be a clear no, and at that moment, by deciding not to cling, you experience a new level of tranquility. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control what happens around us, only our response to it. This idea is the heart of the art of letting go. When you realize that holding on to something does not change what happened, but emotionally traps you in a cycle of pain. Letting go becomes an act of self-preservation, not weakness. Be kind to yourself in this process. Letting go requires practice and patience. Sometimes you will realize you are holding on to something again, and that's okay. Each time you let go, you will be closer to living a full and free life. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. The peace that comes from letting go is priceless. You are no longer at war with the past, with the opinions of others, or with what is beyond your control. Instead, you act with serenity, like someone who has understood that life is movement and that holding on to what should have already gone only brings unnecessary suffering. In the end, letting go is a gift you give to yourself. It is not about others nor about what happened. It is about choosing lightness and rejecting the burden. Practicing this art transforms your way of seeing the world. Everything that once seemed like an insurmountable obstacle becomes something you can simply release. The greatest lesson of all is that by letting go, you discover that it is not what happens to you that matters, but how you decide to move forward. And by mastering the art of letting go, you walk through life with the confidence of one who knows that nothing can hold you back or bother you. Unless you allow it, living as if nothing bothers you is a daily choice. It does not mean fleeing from problems, but facing them with calm, wisdom, and self-control. Start practicing these lessons today and discover how your life can change. We have reached the end of the video, and now is the time to put everything into practice. Remember, what matters is not what happens, but who you decide to be in the face of it. If you stayed until here, I want to know. Leave a comment. I stayed until the end. This helps reinforce your commitment and inspires other people. If this video made sense to you, like it right now. This greatly helps the channel grow and reach more people. Subscribe and activate notifications to receive content that truly transforms lives. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.